Hello, my name is Mary DeBono and I have another rib rope technique for you to play with. And this one involves side bending. Side bending, but we're going to do it using our rope or your belt or your leash or your lead rope or what have you. And start by just noticing how you're sitting. And if you feel like one side of your pelvis, one hip, one seat bone feels heavier than the other, just notice that. And you could even play with putting your hands under your seat bones, seeing if one gets more squished than the other. But just remember, when you do that, when you actually put your hands under, it changes how you're sitting. So it might not be an accurate representation of how you habitually sit. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so I trust that you've watched at least the first video about the rib rope, so you understand the basic technique, the basic movement, I should say. That's really important, okay? Just the very basic side to side one, in the ribs. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the basic one along with some side bending. So let's start by just leaving your rope where it is, putting your hand on top of your head, and we're going to start by lifting the right side of the pelvis and bringing the right elbow just down towards your right hip a little bit. Just do that. Notice how that feels. Switch hands. Now we'll do it to the left. Notice if one side is easier than the other. It is for almost everybody, it seems, so that they have an easier side. Notice if you do. And again, we're not forcing it. You won't improve so much if you force it, okay? The smaller, slower movements will actually reap better results for you. So, okay, so now, let's take your rib rope and as you give yourself that little hug, can you start to do the basic rib rope technique, which is taking it from side, increasing pressure on one side than the other, but do that as you're lifting each seat bone, each side of your pelvis. So as you're doing that, you're kind of waking up these different parts of the back, different parts of the rib cage. And can you even feel like, for example, as I lift the right side of my pelvis, I can actually feel like I'm helping because I use my left hand to just do a gentle movement kind of up and to the left. Like, oh, what is that like? And then when I lift my left side of my pelvis, I can reach up with my left hand and say, what is that like? And you can give a little guidance, a little nudge, if you will, to that part of yourself and kind of wake it up. So it's kind of a combination of the side to side, but also a little bit of you're exaggerating a little bit or emphasizing that like lifting motion as well. That's it. Okay, come back to the middle. Now just go down a little bit, just a little bit, and we're going to do the same thing. Just let your head go just gently with the motion. Make sure you're breathing. That's it. Okay. Let's go down a little bit more and we're going to continue. Great way to wake up those parts of yourself that have been just underutilized. And maybe you have a habit of overdoing the movement in one part, kind of forgetting about these other parts of yourself, which can lead to a lot of problems. Overuse in some areas, being pretty crooked, that's a very common thing. Okay, so scooch down a little bit more. That's it. Good. Now let's go back up to the top. I'm going to see how that's changed now. So same idea, as you lift the right side of the pelvis, we're going to bring your left hand kind of over and across. Think of encouraging that part of your rib cage to participate in the bending. And then of course opposite on the other side. That's it. Good. Okay, lower your hands. Take a break. Take a breath. And now simply do it without the rope. See if that's easier. And then you could put your hand on top of your head. Notice if some parts of you are a little more alive now. And actually, go ahead now and put your right hand on your head. Lift the right side of your pelvis. Bring the right elbow down. But now keep the right hand on top of your head and lift the left side of your pelvis. So you're going to bring your left ear to your left shoulder at the same time. And just feel how these ribs can really start to open up. Go back and forth a little bit. Just gently, but maybe a little quicker, small, quick movements. Now take your left hand and do the same thing. Go from side to side. Just light and quick. Doesn't have to be a big movement. Just easy. So feel how as you come here, these ribs really open up. Okay, bring the hand down. Notice how you're sitting. Notice if that's changed. If you feel more balanced on your seat bones. Okay, so now what I need you to do is grab a hand towel. So I'm going to go grab one. I have one right here. Okay, so now take your hand towel and fold it up and put it under your left seat bone. So you're going to be kind of lopsided there. And now take your rope and we're going to lift just the right side of the pelvis. So you're going to side bend to the right. So as you do that, you're going, oh, my kitty is talking. Do you hear Higgins? That's my kitty. So as you lift the right side of your pelvis, you're going to pull a little bit with the left hand to encourage the movement there on the right side of your trunk. But at the same time, remember, we have pressure on the other hand as well, just not as much. That's it. Do that a few times. The right ear goes down to the right shoulder. That's it. Come back to the middle. Good. Okay, bring your rope down a little bit and do the same thing. Good. Okay, take your towel out, lower your arms. Notice how you feel as you're sitting now. And now switch the towel, so now we're going to put it under the right seat bone. We'll do the same thing, but now side bending to the left. So again, very gently use the rope to help bring awareness and a little bit of suggestion, gentle suggestion. And how does this side compare to the right side? Like I said, many people have one side that's easier than the other. And sometimes it's so different that it makes them very, very crooked. And a lot of riders, you see, have a problem with this. But even people who don't ride horses, they're sitting crooked most of the day. So this is a great way to help you not be so crooked. And to really become aware of what you're doing. That's it. Remember, the rope is helping to kind of suggest and guide. That's it. Okay, come back, lower your hands. You can take your towel out. Take a breath. And notice how deep you feel in your seat right now. If you feel really solid and that you're just sitting upright without any effort. And now you can go ahead and do a little side to side movements. Switch hands. Good. Lower the arms slowly. And that's a really fun thing to play with. So it adds another twist to your side bending. And it's really, really helpful, again, to wake up that part of the spine and the ribs and even the sternum, and just really bringing awareness and a little bit more movement to places that have often really neglected. Really, really neglected. A lot of us keep a lot of they're just almost immobile or have a lot reduced movement in there anyway. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I had a lot of fun sharing it with you. So feel free to ask me any questions, Mary@marydebono.com, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.